you're a beginner to working out, then today's exercise tutorial is for you. Today I'm gonna be teaching you 4 different kettlebell exercises you can do for your entire body. That's right, a full body workout using a kettlebell. Welcome back to Total Body Training. My name is John Carlos, and if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please click the subscription button. On this channel, we go over fitness tips, trends, and tutorials to help you stay informed and get in shape. And if you enjoy the content that I'm making on this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down, and on with the tutorial. The first exercise I'm going to go over is the Goblet Squat. Now, Goblet Squatting is probably one of the first or second exercises that I teach people when they are starting to learn how to squat. So you're going to take your kettlebell and you're going to pick it up off the ground, ideally it's in front of you, and you're going to hold it in a goblet position. So you're going to flip over the kettlebell and hold it from the handle portion. It's easier to grip when you're doing it this way. So you're holding it from the handles. Then you are going to stand. Your stance will be taking your feet and turning them out to about 30 degrees, like you see me doing right here, with your knees and your toes facing slightly away from each other, not completely forward. Then from there, you're going to roll your shoulder blades back. I call this proud chest or Johnny Bravo chest. This is here to help us keep a very upright back when we're squatting. And then you are going to drop down for your squat and then come back up. Drop down for your squat and then come back up. The most common mistake that people make when doing a kettlebell squat is rounding their back. So oftentimes, because a weight is in front of you, the weight will pull you forward and you'll want to round your spine when you're doing the movement. So just make sure that you're pinching your shoulder blades back, keeping your chest open with that big Johnny Bravo proud chest that I call it. And it's going to help you by keeping that upper back tight. It's going to help you come up out of the squat with a much better posture. The moment that you start to roll your shoulders down though, the more likely you are to round your back. Another extremely common mistake is depth. So not going down low enough is an issue that a lot of people have with their squat. So just make sure that you are going below parallel with your hips. So your hip crease, your femur, I should say, which is your leg bone, should be at a slight angle when you're going down below the knee and then coming up when you're doing the movement. The next exercise is the kettlebell floor press. This is a chest exercise. You're gonna lay down on the ground and you're going to set up with your legs kind of bent like you see me doing right here, and take your kettlebell in one of your hands. From there, you're going to notice that the kettlebell is going to feel like it's pushing your wrist back. That's the nature of the kettlebell. And the bell part of it's resting on your wrist. This might create a little bit of discomfort. Part of how you fix that is by cranking your wrist up a little bit so that there is some tension in your hands and the kettlebell portion of it is resting on your arm, but it's not bearing down on your arm and crushing it. Also, if you let the weight pull you like this, you might feel an immense amount of discomfort in your wrist. So make sure you've got that crank, you crank up just a hair. When I say crank, I don't mean all the way like that, right about here, so that you can have that stability in it and then it's not running into your wrist and hurting it. It's going to run into it a little bit, but that's just the way it is. You're going to set up with your entire tricep and your elbow on the ground like this, and then you are going to come up and press into your midline, so in the center of your body where your sternum is, and then come all the way back down, resting your entire tricep and elbow on the ground. Not your forearm, just your tricep and your elbow on the ground, and then coming back up. The 2 most common mistakes with this exercise are not resting your tricep on the ground. So the point of a floor press is to take away tension from your movement. So when you're resting that arm on the ground, it's sometimes a little bit harder to pick it up from that dead position because your tricep doesn't have anywhere to swing from when you're pushing it, like say when you're doing a bench press where you've got this gap of space where you can kind of dip and come back up. So throwing in the floor press can actually improve your ability to push out of the bottom of a movement because it's at this dead rest on the bottom. So make sure that you're resting your entire tricep on the ground when you're doing the floor press. The next exercise is a kettlebell curl and press. This is a bicep and medial delt exercise. Really, it's the entire delt because when you're doing the twisting motion that you'll see in a couple seconds, it really just activates the medial, the front, and the rear delt. But essentially, you're going to hold the kettlebell like you're holding a dumbbell that you're going to curl up with an underhanded position. So you're going to start off with that underhanded position with the kettlebell by your side. You're going to curl up, then open up your shoulder, the side, pushing your elbow back and squeezing your lat, and then pushing the kettlebell overhead so that it is directly over your head towards your midline, then bringing it back down, closing off your shoulder, and then bringing the kettlebell down. The most common mistake that I see with this is half repping, so people only going up part of the way when they're doing their press is extremely common. Try not to do that. Try to get your dumbbell all the way up. If you need to do so, film yourself. If you need to fix this, if you feel like you're struggling with this and you're not doing it right, then perhaps you should film yourself so you can see what it looks like when you're doing the movement. The last one is the kettlebell deadlift, and deadlifts are a hamstring dominant movement, so it's primarily a hamstring exercise for the back of your leg, but you're also going to feel it in your low back and in your entire body because the deadlift is a compound movement. You're going to start off with the kettlebell on the floor in front of you. We're doing the conventional deadlift. There are a lot of different versions of this exercise, so just kind of watch how we're doing it. But essentially, you're going to take the kettlebell, you're going to hold it in front of you, and you're going to come up just slightly and arch your spine so that the kettlebell is just below your knees. And you're going to create tension in your upper back and do a slight Johnny Bravo back. This is what we call a hip hinge. So notice that in this position, I am bent over at the waist slightly and my legs are bent over. You don't want the legs to be so bent that you look like you're squatting. So make sure that you are bent over at the waist and you're pushing your hips back so that you feel activation in your glutes and your hamstrings. You'll come up out of the movement, squeeze your glutes, feel your hamstrings, and then come back down. Come up out of the movement with a nice straight arched spine, so your spine is open, your chest is open, and then come back down. The most common mistakes with your kettlebell deadlifts are rounding your spine or making your deadlift look like it's a squat. The rounding of the spine can be fixed by doing that Johnny Bravo back that I talk about a lot, or having that proud chest where you're pinching your shoulder blades together and arching your spine. So make sure that your chest is very, very open when you're doing the movement and that you are hip hinging at the waist rather than dropping down and curling your back when you're doing the movement. The other one is the squatting motion, and essentially you want to focus on bending over at the waist rather than bending your legs exclusively. So you bend over at the waist and push your glutes back and then bend your legs just a hair or just a little bit when you're going down and then coming back up. For more on proper deadlifting, I've got a video in the comments section of this video and in the cards for this video that will show you how to do a kettlebell deadlift in greater detail. All right, people, and that does it for today's episode of Total Body Training. Question of the day: which kettlebell exercise do you want to see me do a future tutorial about? I intentionally didn't do a kettlebell tutorial about the kettlebell swing. There are lots of those, and the thing is that there are a lot of things you can do with the kettlebell besides the swing. That's kind of like, you know, there's tons of videos on the swing, so I just thought, let's teach them all the other ways that you can do stuff. And let me know, would you like to see other kettlebell tutorials? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. And please hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't enjoy the video, hit the thumbs down. All right, people, until next time, peace.